I'm sure at this point, many of you have checked out a retro Football Manager database at some point. Of course, a few weeks ago, we showcased the Mad Scientists database here on the channel. Lots of you seem to enjoy it, and I wanted to shine a light on another similar project, this one made by WorkTheSpace. This is the Football Manager 1990-91 Retro Regens database. This is a little different though, because as you play through the last 30 years of football, regens will appear, but they're regens modelled after real footballers. David Beckham will appear as a regen, Steven Gerrard will appear as a regen, Mbappe and Rashford will appear as a regen. Heck, even Messi and Ronaldo will a few years into the save game. It's a super cool project. I have downloaded it, I've checked it out, I'm going to show you how to install it yourself, as well as give you a little bit of a sim into the future to show you what it predicts will happen over the 30 years between 1990 and 2020. Let's get into this. So this is a new project made by WorkTheSpace. It's not a custom database, it's a save game that you load, and the reason for that is that the save game itself contains all the regens that come through over the years. They're all kind of set in stone upon the creation of the game. You can download it from Passion for Football Manager. You can see here the FM Retro group are kind of helping produce it, and additionally it was built off some work by the Mad Scientist, who of course, as I've already mentioned, we featured on the channel with his 0304 database for 2021's Football Manager. I believe this is built off some of his work for one of his previous databases. WorkTheSpace is currently in the process of updating it all. At the moment, only the English Premier League is fully fleshed out. Over the next few versions and iterations of this database, though, other leagues around Europe are going to be updated. So you can see here, the way it works is we start in the year 1990. You can see Zidane is going to be 18 years old, starting at Cannes. And, well, from there, as you play forward, regens appear after all the real footballers. So if you're someone who's craving the early 1990s, not only can you live through that, but also there's going to be familiar faces popping up throughout the entirety of the save game. If you're someone who plays Football Manager and feels a little bit lost when regens start coming through, maybe if the regens were real footballers, or at least loosely modelled around them, it'd keep you engaged for a little bit longer. At the moment, only England truly reflects things. However, you can still play in Spain, Germany, Italy and France. Just be aware there might be a few players wrong. I think not all the teams are fully updated in the nations in terms of the divisions that they're going to be in. And this is the very, very first version of it. The way that you can get your hands on this kind of save game is all you need to do is you download it. You can get it from Mediafire here. It will download. It's a 46 megabyte file. And then once it's in your downloads folder, you just load up Football Manager and you load it in. You should have something that looks a little bit like this, as I have Football Manager in front of me, and we have the Retro Regens mod beta that I have already loaded up, but of course you would hit load game, you'd navigate to wherever it is in your computer, be that your downloads folder, and from there you can just select it and load it. A little bit like this. So yes, this video is going to be a little bit of a showcase of this mod. I have already holidayed into the future 30 years to what would be 2020 in game. Of course, due to the limitations that this kind of save game and database has, unfortunately, you can't actually have the date starting 1990. So as a result, you've basically got to take 30 years off whatever the date is you see in the top right corner. Now, of course, I wasn't born in 1990, so I'm not going to sit here and proclaim to have this expert knowledge as to the world of football. You can see you've got players like Glenn Hoddle here, who is playing for Monaco at the time at aged 32. If we just have another look through, there's all these real players. Brian Robson, for example, aged 33 also exists. Chris Waddle is playing for Marseille. If we have a look at the Premier League, it's already been updated. These are all the correct teams. Wimbledon, still a Premier League club at this point. And if we just look at the season preview, you can see here you've got players like Lineker and Rush also playing up front. I believe there is a face pack in the works for this. If there's any update on when that's going to be coming, or if it's available, I will link it down below. And I imagine there is going to be lots of versions of this database and this save game released in the near future as things get updated. Now, because this is a kind of first, I guess, alpha of the project, you'll see here we've got the teams. There are also some players who are added as regens to start things off. Players like Steve McManaman is aged 18, playing for Liverpool, for example. If we just have a quick flick through, you can see here every team has fleshed out players. Paul Scholes, for example, is a 15-year-old at the start of the save game. And as we go forward in time, more and more of these players are kind of going to appear. For the most part, the Premier League rosters are pretty fleshed out. I noticed a few like Norwich where they are missing some players, but for the most part, it's fully playable. You can see here there's players like Les Ferdinand. I believe in the case of slightly older players who are regens, they are players who just weren't in the original database made by the mad scientist, and the way Warrantini has done it is he's added them obviously as regens, as you can see here. If we just add and remove leagues, you can see here are the leagues that are made playable at the start of a save game. But anyway, I think the logical thing here is to show you what happens in the future. You know what? We'll go forward to 2035. We'll go forward 15 years to 2005, as it would be, and you can see a little bit of what this mod's all about in terms of regens coming through who are named after real players, and they are modelled loosely around those players. So we'll go forward in time. We're going to go to 2005 and see what this retro regen mod is all about. Okay, so I've been through a time machine. We've gone forward 15 years. Normally in Football Manager, this would be the point in a save game, of course, where you wouldn't recognise anyone. 15 years in, maybe some of the hot wonder kids are still pretty good, but for the most part, real players have retired. But if we just have a look at things here, you can already see Manchester United winning the league. But if we just look at the media best 11, there's hopefully some familiar faces here. Players like Zlatan Ibrahimovic has come through. He is now 23, and interestingly enough, he's ended up at Manchester United, albeit a few years before he did in real life. Obviously, he generated at Malmo as a regen 9 years into the save game. That is because he came through, obviously, at Malmo in 1999. 9 years after 1990 when this database is set up to start. Elsewhere, you can see we've got players like Totti here, he's left Roma, which I don't know how to feel about things. He's also gone to United and has played very, very well. Elsewhere in the team, Dida is an international goalkeeper for Everton. We've got players like Rio Ferdinand playing for Man City, Mexes playing for Man City. There's gonna be some United fans not very happy about this specific thing. But if we just look at Rio Ferdinand, you can see here he started at West Ham, much like he did in real life, generated in 2023, 3 years into the save game. I think you're kind of hopefully getting an understanding now exactly how this works. There's an impressively large number of players added. I do believe there are regular regens that come through as well. Naturally speaking, Warrantini has to manually, I believe, add each regen that comes through to a special file that the game uses when it loads up for the first time. I believe the long-term plan is to have more and more players added with each version, as well as updating the league and the kind of accuracy of everything starting in 1990. But in terms of kind of a proof of concept to show how this works, I'm really impressed. This is a project like no other. I've not really seen anything like this before. If we just look at Ballon d'Or winners, you can see here Ruud van Nistelrooy. He is playing for Barcelona. He started at FC Den Bosch, moved to Ajax, has played there for a load of years, and then signed for 40 million. It's worth noting that with this database, in terms of the way everything's set up, my understanding, and I might be wrong here, but my understanding is the wages and finances are attempted to be updated naturally because the Football Manager transfer AI can't be changed and it's used and based around real football. Obviously, the money involved in terms of wages is not exactly realistic to the time. I don't think in 2005, Ryan Giggs was on £115,000 playing for Barcelona, for example. But yeah, you can just see here, just looking at this Barcelona team, who it would appear are one of the best teams in the world. They've got players like Shevchenko, Beckham, Nesta. I'm sure there's other names here that you recognise. Del Piero, for example, has come through. It's a really cool project, and the other nice thing about this database is you could get the save game and holiday forward a number of years. The way you would do that, for people wondering, is you'd go to your manager profile, go on holiday, then maybe go on indefinitely with yearly auto saves, and then at a point that you want to, you could hop off and kind of play in this alien landscape. Now, it's worth noting that with these regens and the way they're produced, obviously, Warrantini can't have complete control over how the players turn out. So as a result, you might get a Del Piero through who doesn't entirely represent what he became in real life. Equally, there will be instances where players who had good potential in earlier Football Managers, which I believe they're based upon, develop amazingly, whereas others are a little subpar. I think I'm going to assume Freddie Adu exists in this universe. Does Freddie Adu exist? Freddie? Maybe Freddie Adu does. Am I too early for Freddie Adu? We can have a look here at the 2005 kind of World 11 as it was. So Ronaldinho is playing centre mid He's currently playing for Monaco. He started at Gremio. They picked him up on a free. A lot of the players move initially for some really cheap fees. So depending on how you want to play this, you could use this database just to assemble the team of your dreams. You know, when you know the year that Rio Ferdinand's going to appear for at West Ham, swoop in and get him before the rest of the world has caught up and knows exactly how good he is. You can see here Van der Vaart, aged 22, has turned out pretty good in this specific save game. You've also got players like Nesta, Cannavaro, Zambrotta. Oh, there's lots of nostalgia here. And then we've got a retro regen Zidane, who started at Cannes, as he did in real life. But as you can see here, he's actually ended up at Real Madrid and become a little superstar. So it's kind of interesting to see that despite it being completely random, some stuff does end up replicating history and looking like a very, very familiar scenario. I just want to give you an overview and kind of give you a taster of what this all is all about. I'm sure there's people wanting me to look at every team. I'm not going to do that. What I'm going to do is I'm going to ask Warrentini if I'm okay to link my save games in the future. So if you want to start 15 years in, 30 years in, you have got the ability to do that. What I think we'll do now, though, is we will go to 2050. That is obviously 30 years in the future. That is present day right now, and have a look at the kind of next generation of players coming through. I think that's a logical thing to do. We'll see if Mbappe is the world's best player. We'll see how Messi and Ronaldo are doing. I'm wondering if they've appeared yet. Messi, he has. He's 17 years old and playing for Barca. That means that Cristiano is also going to have appeared. Where is he? He's still playing for Sporting, age 20, and he's moving to Tottenham. Poor guy. Right, 15 years in the future. Let's see what's become of some of these guys. Let's have a look at how this database sims out the future of football. I'll be back in just a moment. I will say now, if you are enjoying this video, if you're enjoying a little look into this community project and you would like to see more videos like this one where we showcase Football Manager databases that you might not otherwise hear about, drop a like on the video. It lets me know that you want to see more like this. I'd also be interested to know what kind of retro regen you would desperately want to sign. If over the last 30 years of football, you could pick any one footballer to bring back and play for you in your current Football Manager save, who would it be? Right, we are here in 2050, which of course, if we take 30 years off it, it's 2020. And I think the thing I want to do is just search where Mbappe is, because it's Mbappe. He's playing for Liverpool. He looks incredible as well. Wow, he looks absolutely insane. I wonder if he's better than he is in actual kind of Football Manager. You can see it, they signed him from Monaco for 28 million, which is not a lot of money. So fair play Liverpool for snapping him up cheap. How is the Premier League looking in the future? Leeds United in 5th. I guess they never struggled at any point in the future. They've come second on a load of occasions, but not won a Premier League. They're kind of always the bridesmaid, but never the bride. Elsewhere, Ipswich and Norwich, surprisingly high, and Arsenal struggling down in 14th. You can see Edison Cavani playing for Chelsea in this timeline. Also, Alexis Sanchez playing for Manchester United. Again, it's incredible how much stuff it gets right. I say it gets right, obviously. In real life, he didn't play at Monaco before going to United, and he's not still at United now. But it got pretty close. If we look at things here, you can see Neuer is in goal in the Premier League Dream 11. Van Dijk is playing for Man City, age 28. Alexander-Arnold, he's changed ethnicity. He is also, as you can see here, playing for Liverpool. Many, many years into the future and playing regularly. Generated at the club. He looks like a very, very good right back, to be fair to him. Elsewhere, we've got players like Raheem Sterling. Griezmann is now a legendary winger for Tottenham. Harry Kane, also still at Tottenham. Not sure about the Tash Harry, but a very good player. And obviously, whilst it's not perfect by any means, because it's simmed the last 30 years, it's kind of interesting how it does loosely model players around kind of how you would expect them to be. Harry Kane is not a quick forward, but he is a very good forward in the air. I'd actually make the argument he's probably better here than he is in FM21. But that's kind of just the way these things work out. I notice as I moused over here, Higuain is also playing for Tottenham. So they've just got really tall strikers over at Tottenham. Let's have a look at the Ballon d'Or winners through the years. And I'm not seeing any Cristiano Ronaldo. I've seen a Wayne Rooney there, who's currently 34 and playing for Bayern Munich. Slightly more glamorous than Derby. But yeah, Messi, he's just winning all the Ballon d'Ors. He's stayed at Barcelona, and his performances may have been better than in real life. Is that fair? I mean, there's some nuts numbers there. I don't know if he's got a 90-goal season, but I've not seen a player do much better than that in Football Manager. Those are some absolutely insane numbers by Messi there. You can see Aguero finished runner-up, also playing for Barcelona. Of course, he's been linked with Barcelona in real life. So Football Manager is basically telling us to put some money on it happening. Gareth Bale, he's also playing for Barcelona. He started at Southampton and made the move for 35 million. And you can see some of the other past winners here. Diaby. I mean, what Abu Diaby could have been without his injuries, I suppose. I guess in this save game, he didn't get all his injuries. He moved, as you can see here, to Real Madrid and had an incredible career, including a year where he got 24 goals and 13 assists from midfield. Fair enough. Not gonna question that. I guess that's a kind of what could have been. Obviously, you can see here as well, Ruud van Nistelrooy also popping up, and Zlatan won it on a few occasions, and now he's a director of football. Make of that what you will. Of course, once you exceed the 30 years and we get to the future, there's no more real players to come through. I don't know if there's any plan to add kind of hot prospects in real life, players who have been touted for greatness, the kind that you see the YouTube montages are appearing of, on YouTube, and it's like this insane 13-year-old playing for Real Madrid. Whether or not those kind of players are ever added to this mod, I don't know. I feel like Warrentini has his work cut out, kind of just fleshing out present day. It's probably quite a lot of work to go and add even more players. You can see here, just looking at kind of the current world best 11, you've got players like Ederson playing in goal. He has ended up at Roma in this simulation. Fabinho is playing right back for Man City. Matt Hummels is playing for Barcelona. Jordi Alba playing for Liverpool. And of course, all of these players are regens. They are, completely randomly generated in terms of exactly how good they'll be. I believe Warrentini has some control over, place of birth, their ability and their potential that they generate with, and perhaps even the role that they're modelled around in terms of how their attributes end up looking. But the game has simulated all of this over the years, and it's a really, really cool project. You can see here, Mane is playing for Milan. It's crazy work, and it's an interesting project. I'm sure there'll be a hardcore contingent of people who play through 30 years of this and enjoy it. I'm sure there'll also be people who holiday a certain number of years into the future and kind of, check it out and hop in midway through to an alternate footballing universe in terms of where teams are, but where all the players are the same. But anyway, I think we've done a pretty nice job there of just kind of showcasing what this mod is all about. It's a super, super impressive project. Hopefully, it's got many, many updates to come. It could be really interesting to see where it goes, I think, because it's kind of got, I don't want to say unlimited scope, but there's so many different ways that you could take this, and depending on how this goes, who knows, maybe we will get similar projects with other retro databases where we have a similar kind of situation where real players come through as you play through the save game. But anyway, we are going to leave that video here for today. I hope you've enjoyed this little showcase of the mod. As I said, you can download it down below. It's a save game. It's super simple. You just load it up like any other Football Manager save game from the main menu, and you can check this out, holiday into the future, or start back in 1990. If you've enjoyed today's video, slap a like on it. Let me know that you want to see more. If you're new to the channel, make sure to subscribe. We have many Let's Plays, kind of experiment videos that we do here, occasionally tips and guides, and of course more community showcases just like this one. And well, until next time, thank you for watching. It has been me, Jack, and I'll talk to you guys in a bit. I'm out.